welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things, and today I am giving you my April wrap-up. April has turned out to be quite a productive month when it came to reading. I was kind of surprised by the amount of books that I got completed, that I read. Part of that is because I've started going to the library pretty frequently, and so there's a time crunch on those books, and I think that that is inherently encouraging for my little idiot ADHD brain. I figure we'll just go ahead and get into the stats. There's not a whole lot new here. I'm not doing anything different or new than I usually do. So for the stats, I read a total of 24 books this month. The pages were 5,380. For hours listened, it is 85 hours and 34 minutes, which is a total of 3 days, 13 hours and 34 minutes. My average rating was a 3.0, which is kind of low for me, but there weren't a lot of impressive books this month. Mostly they were fine, but not incredible. My average pages read per day was 105.7, which lines up because I aim to read with my eyes 100 pages a day. My average hours listened per day was 4 hours, 12 minutes, and 73 seconds. I purchased a total of one book, which was The Familiar Volume 5, and I reread no books. Also kind of an odd number. Normally for me, I reread at least 1 or 2 books a month from previous months or years because I am a creature of habit and I know what I like. The format of those books, 10 of them were audiobooks, 6 of them were ebooks, and 8 of them were physical books. I expect that physical book number to go up next month. We'll see, but I have been slowly doing fewer and fewer audiobooks. Part of that is because I've been in pretty frequent meetings, and so I can't listen to audiobooks during that time. And I don't like to listen to audiobooks while I'm sitting around my house, because unless I'm doing chores or something, because my brain inherently is like, we could be doing literally anything else. And most of the things that I want to do require other audio, like watching videos or watching TV or whatever. I've said it many, many a time. How I'm able to read as much as I am is determined by what I'm willing to put the time into, and right now that's not audiobooks. But I have been reading a lot with my eyes, so that is kind of the flip side to that is at 8 p.m. I turn off all, TV and stuff, and I sit in my reading chair and I just read until 10ish. So you make time for the things you want to make time for. Anyway, of those books, the intended audiences, 17 of them were adult, 4 were young adult, and 3 were middle grade. I continue to increase the amount of adult books that I read and continue to lower my tolerance for young adult, which is kind of unfortunate. A lot of my favorite books are young adult. That's changing, but, it is what it is. For the pages of the books that I read with my eyes, 4 of them were between the pages of 201 and 300, 5 were between 301 and 400, 4 were between 401 and 500, and 1 of them was over 700 pages, and that's going to be The Familiar. Any number range that I skipped, it's because I didn't have any pages in that. For the genres that I read, 8 of them were fantasy, 6 were horror, 5 were thrillers, 3 were sci-fi, 1 was historical, and 1 was contemporary. And I did already make the blocks for the April book blanket, but I read more than I had planned on, and so now I have some extras and I have a plan for that. I have talked about it in vlogs, but I will also be talking about it in my crochet wrap-up when that comes out later. And on to the top books of the month. Now, the first 2 are part of a series, so take that as you will. That is going to be Rosemary and Rue, and also A Local Habitation by Shauna McGuire. These are the first 2 books of the October Day series. I've just started this series. I initially started it because they're kind of mass market paperbacks, so they're not super expensive. They're easy to find used. And I'm checking them out at the library, but I'm reading them because my husband really likes Shauna's writing, and I can get him these books while we're waiting on other books to come out in paperback. I can get him these books to tide him over because he really, really likes Shauna's writing, and this is kind of a good cheap alternative to some of the more expensive options and more expensive books that he wants to read from series that he's reading. Right now he's reading Gideon the Ninth, so he's got some time, obviously, and then he'll read Seasonal Fears by Shauna and before we have to get to this, but we have nothing but time. So that was my initial plan for reading it. I ended up being kind of obsessed with the series. I'm like making it my personality at the moment. I am invested in all of the characters. I feel emotionally tied to them. Like, I am enjoying this story so much, and I love Toby, the main character, so much, and I love reading about her adventures and struggles and emotional turmoil. I think that shonen does a really good job of those things. I also really appreciate that shonen fades to black still, even in adult books. So yeah, you get the like sexiness without feeling uncomfortable for me, because there's a lot of the time, most of the time, that if I'm reading a fantasy book, I don't want that. That's not what I'm reading the book for. I'll pick up a romance or a spicy book if that's what I'm looking for, because that's a rare thing and I know specifically what I'm looking for. But if I'm picking up a fantasy, I'm not looking for that, and I don't want that. Content just kind of throws me off usually, or pulls me out of the book, just because of being on the A spectrum and not loving reading about that stuff. So that is kind of the gist of it, and what I enjoy about it. Not just what I enjoy about it. It's very like gritty detective feel with found family and trauma, and figuring out things from your trauma and growing from them, and being protective of the younger generations because you've grown from all of these things and wanting to do better by the world, etc. And I think that it's just done really well. I think that shonen does that writing really well. Anyway, I've probably talked enough about those books. Then we have Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes, which is like Ghost Spaceship. Ghost Ship. I don't know, there's like a movie with Emily Browning, is that her last name? Where she's like a ghost on a ship, and in the intro, what happens is like a rope cuts through everybody's heads. Ghost Ship. This is that-ish, but in space. So scarier, because space is scary. So, yeah. I was like 75% in this book, and I was like, it can't possibly, why is there still more to this book left? Why is there more left? No, we should be done. We should be done, actually. There should be no more. This book was fucking horrifying, and I loved it. I really did. I thought it was really good. Then we have an advanced reader copy that I read, which was You Can Trust Me by Wendy Hurd. This is a fun thriller. It's a fun thriller. I really like Wendy Hurd's writing, and there were problems with it, but it's a thriller, and there are always problems with thrillers. But I found this concept really fun. There is these two basically scam artist girls who are best friends, and they determine that they, well, one of them basically scams rich men, that's what she does, and she ends up going on an island with this guy and disappears, and her best friend is like, fuck that noise, and goes to go find her. And it's a rich man with his own island. Do I need to say more? We already know who the bad guy is, right? Right? There's not even like surprises in that, except that there was still a twist that surprised me. So like I didn't even pull in why some of this stuff mattered until the twist. So I thought that was done really well. I ended up like staying up really late one night finishing it and reading it, which is not something I've been doing. I don't do that very much, because I know my reading and I know myself, and I know usually like if I'm tired, oh, you know what, I'll just finish this tomorrow. It's not like the book is going anywhere, like I know that. But this book, You Can Trust Me, and then also both of the books in the October Day series had me staying up late just to finish the books, because I was like so invested in what happened. So then we're going to talk about the worst book of the month, and I hated this book. That would be Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, and I've read books by this author before and did not hate them, but nothing happens in this book. Let me emphasize here. Nothing happens in this book. It's suburban drama, but not even like in the Desperate Housewives kind of cool way. Like nothing happens in this book. I don't know how they made a movie out of it when nothing happens. Nothing happens in this book. I got 50% in, no, like 75% in, and I was like, we should have progressed. The plot should have gotten more interesting by now. I have read many a contemporary book that is just about the mundane, and I still enjoyed them because there was like a plot thread that was interesting and made sense. And this book did not have that. There was no interesting plot thread. I don't know what the fuck this book was supposed to be about, but nothing happens in this book. It was so frustrating. I almost DNF'd it, but then I had like the time and I wanted the background noise. And so I left it on as background noise because I could pay zero attention to it and still tell you the plot because nothing fucking happens in this book. The overarching plot that they talk about in the descriptor, that's as deep as it goes. This shit is not very deep, not very interesting, and not very, I didn't enjoy it. And like, I like contemporary books sometimes. This one just wasn't for me. If you like that kind of thing, if you liked this book, that's fine. It just wasn't for me. I just did not have a good time. I was bored out of my fucking mind, honestly. I still don't know how they made a movie out of it. I thought it was a TV series, but apparently it's a movie. And I thought about watching the movie, and I was like, no, I'm gonna read the book first. Now I will not be watching the movie. I don't understand how they made a movie out of this book. I don't get it. It wasn't good. Anyway, that's my April wrap up. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if I just shit on one of your favorite books. If you liked some of the books that I liked or now want to read some of those books, I recommend them, obviously. Let me know in the comments down below. If you have any questions or suggestions on how to make this video better, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. If you didn't like this video, I'm sorry. And that's it. I post videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I will see you later on this week. Don't forget to take your meds, drink your water, and do something today to take care of yourselves. Okay, thanks, bye.